the country, the world, and the universe. And he's an author, of course, Father of Mine, and a couple other books too.
Boy, we don't have the rejoin today.
You know, with the phone that you're looking at now, it's the beauty of being in Indianapolis because everybody has their heads in their phones most of the time. Period. But in Indianapolis, it's easy to justify. Why are you looking at your phone so much? Now I got stuff going on. I mean,
you know why I do it? You know why I do it? When I walk through here, I figure if I'm looking at my phone, nobody's going to come up to me and say, hey, can you come do my show?
Yeah.
It didn't work with you.
Well, no, I've seen I've seen the Florio ProFootballTalk.com radio tour today. You're bouncing all over the place, man. Or was
Not
it
really.
just one?
Just a couple. I appreciate your attempt to negotiate a better appearance fee for me.
That was the best. I was giving you my very best, but they said no.
I think the best pitch you can make is that you insist that they pay me the exact same amount that you pay me.
Correct.
Can I have this pen?
Correct. You can have the pen. Will Sheedy here on the camera, he's going to give you his Vikings Combine vest.
What is VEN?
Vikings Entertainment Network.
The VEN,
and
baby.
over there we have the 10, the Titans Entertainment Network, and the SEN, the Steelers Entertainment
Really?
Network.
I can't have this? Can I have this?
Of course you can.
All right, good.
You can have whatever you want.
It's a right-handed pen, though.
Oh, well, then I can't take it.
PFT, yeah, you know. Any Cousins team? I mean, you can watch this at ProFootballTalk.com. I watched it last night. Kevin O'Connell with Chris Sims and Mike Florio. Anything new to advance the ball with the Cousins?
Well, I thought that Kevin O'Connell was as clear as I've heard him on, number one, they want to keep Kirk Cousins. My assessment of the situation is they have a number that they are willing to extend, and that if Kirk Cousins is able to find anything else that he likes better, he is free to take it.
Yeah.
And they are very clear-eyed about it. They are very confident. They use the phrase, Kevin did a couple of times, he has earned the right to bet on himself.
Yep.
And they believe that when the time comes for him to go, see what else is out there, he will learn that whatever else is out there is not better, that the grass will not be greener in Atlanta or Las Vegas or back in Washington. I don't think Pittsburgh, some people I was talking to last night, they really are going to do this Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph thing. As crazy as it sounds, that I get the impression is what they're going to do.
Well, with Kirk, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but your last question was with O'Connell about Kirk was, so you 100% are saying you want Kirk Cousins as your quarterback.
And he said 100% yes, I do.
Right, that was awesome. But now you mentioned that with Pittsburgh, and I hadn't thought of that or heard that. Well, if Justin Fields gets traded to Atlanta, which I would make them favored, well, I mean –
They're heavy betting favorites.
Oh,
Atlanta, like minus 120.
Yeah, so much so DraftKings took it off the board. They were getting so much money on Fields to Atlanta.
Or they know something.
Right.
Or
yeah.
They think that the bettors know something.
Right,
See,
correct.
it's okay for them to know.
Yeah.
When the bettors know, that's when we take it off the board.
All right, well, Kirko, I mean, if Justin goes there and Pittsburgh wants to do this thing, okay, you
Pittsburgh
said Vegas.
Well,
he's going to run out of options.
Right. And I think that's what they count on. Look, when he was a free agent 6 years ago, 29, and healthy, it was the Vikings and the Jets. That's it. There were two teams, Vikings and the Jets. So now he's 35, coming off a torn Achilles tendon, and once you popped one, you're more likely to pop the other one.
Really?
And who's going to be out there?
Yeah.
So, and from his perspective, and I hope the Vikings don't overplay this. I hope they haven't underestimated his willingness to pack up his family and leave. But the idea that he's got the two kids and they're in school and they like their school and they like where they live, you got to be careful there, because it would be foolish to assume that Kirk and Julie Cousins haven't already scoped out everything that they would be doing in Atlanta, including the school. Like, I'm in a position where I get all sorts of crazy tips from people.
Yeah, well, they absolutely have.
Some of the tips I've gotten is they've already been down there and they know exactly where the kids go to school. If Atlanta is the place, and
Kirk's father lives in Orlando, is a preacher down there.
I mean,
doing their due diligence.
Yeah, Julie Cousins' parents are Alpharetta, and she grew up there. So if they go Justin Fields, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
And I got the impression from hearing Raheem Morris, the new head coach of the Falcons yesterday, that it is going to be Justin Fields.
Right. And Courtney Cronin, who covers them for ESPN, she was with us earlier, and she thinks it's going to happen soon. Now, maybe not Atlanta, but probably Atlanta. But like when that DraftKings thing came off, because they're obviously getting too much action on one side, and they want to put a different number up to even out that action. the metaphorical writings on the wall.
I was going to say Daniil Hunter, right? Maybe not as popular as the quarterbacks are, but for us, huge part of our defense and what Flores was able to do. Anything on him or any thoughts on Daniil? We're worried he's going to be going to Chicago, or that the Bears are in a situation where they can add another pass rusher.
Or the Lions.
They've got the cash. The Lions keep him in the same
If
division.
you're the Lions or Bears, wouldn't you absolutely chase him to pill for a division team and make yourself better?
Daniil Hunter is one of the most underrated defensive players of the last decade. He kind of fell off the radar screen that year. He had the neck surgery, but I would like to think the Vikings find a way to keep him, but that's part of the game. You make your division rival worse, you make yourself better. That's why I think if the Chiefs let Chris Jones get anywhere near the market, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I remember when free agency and the salary cap first came into being when the Cowboys had their dynasty, and it felt like other teams were committed to dismantling the Cowboys via free agency, and they would overpay to get this guy and take this guy and take this guy. I don't get that same vibe now. Why wouldn't you be doing everything you can to just weaken the Chiefs? Because if they lose Chris Jones, it's not like you can say, we'll reconfigure our defense the way they reconfigured their offense without Tyreek Hill. You take that guy who is a disruptive force, a wrecking ball in the middle, all of a sudden the defense, which carried the team in many respects this year, is no longer that strength, and it makes it harder for them to do what they're trying to do, which is win 3 in a row. First team ever to win 3 in a row. If they have Chris Jones, it's a lot easier.
Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com. Deep stretch, Combine Day 2, Peter.
Anything else from a free agent standpoint? The Vikings are, with the quarterback situation and the plethora of quarterbacks that are coming out this year. You have Kevin O'Connell as a quarterback coach. How off the radar would it be for the Vikings to go ahead and grab one of these young guys, and even if you sign Kirk, let him sit for a year?
And take it a step farther.
But have a plan. Go ahead.
Take it a step farther. Josh McCown just hired as quarterbacks coach. Well, he coached
Drake May.
Thank you. I mean, it's like Drake May to the Vikings. If you thought it was a 0 for whatever the reason, I mean, it might not be a 10% or higher, but it's not a 0 anymore, And
Josh and Kirk have the same agent, too. I don't know how much that is relevant to the conversation at all. But, what's the plan? Because I feel like, before we saw the improvement from Kirk last year, culminating in the Monday night game against the 49ers, I felt like the Vikings' plan was get through one more year and then draft young quarterback with the hopes that he becomes the next franchise guy. Really, since Fran Tarkenton, they thought they were getting it with Dante Culpepper. He had that horrible knee injury October 2005.
Yeah, Charlotte.
The torn 3 knee ligament trifecta, because he had 2004, one of the all-time great quarterback seasons at the time.
Second behind Manning for MVP.
Yeah. They I think thought this year would be the year they make a move. And if we're finishing the top 3 of the draft order, we were bad, but now we're in a position where we can get that guy. So that's why the Justin Jefferson thing continues for me to be intriguing, because
it's not
until they sign.
Sorry.
Until they look, hey Paul, until they do it, there's a possibility. And they've traded Randy Moss. They've traded Stephon Diggs. They traded Percy Harvin when they said they have no intent to trade Percy Harvin. I got Kevin to say yesterday he has no intent to trade Justin Jefferson. I don't think he understood the bit.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I don't think he did.
Well, you referenced Percy too.
I know, but he still said it, and it's like, but that's exactly what Rick said. And Rick was right over there when he said it.
And let me say this, though. Having been on the staff when we did make that trade with Randy Moss and Dante, it was basically you had – the two of them put everybody in a position where we had to choose between one of the two.
Wow!
And they chose Dante.
And we got Napoleon Harris. I mean, what?
Well, I'm just saying. The reason
and
they
Troy
got rid of
Williamson.
Randy was